Welcome back, G-Fighters, to issue 4 of G-Fighterz. I'm your host, Sully, and you are also joined by your other regular host, Mark. How are you today, Mark?
Hi.
Hi, he's great. Just a quick disclaimer for you guys. Last week in issue 3, we stated that we would be discussing the Lord Slug Dragon Ball Z movie in the second half of this episode. Shortly after we finished recording, though, DBZ Abridged landed on the weekend. So, the new plan is to discuss the new Abridged episode in the second half of this episode. So, we do apologize for the confusion. If you have watched Lord Slug, we will be talking about that possibly next week, unless we, by some freak chance, get another Abridged episode, which I don't think we will. We should be talking about that next week. But as we did previously state in episode 1, the second half of each episode being our general discussion point of whatever we find to be a big talking point at any point in time is flexible. So we've chosen the movies because it's just something we can easily fall back onto, and it's fun and they're great to watch. But in this case, something did come up, which was Abridged. So we decided to scrap the Lord Slug movie this week and chat about Abridged. So if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend you go check it out because it's 22 minutes of pure gag reel fun. But without further ado, Mark, let's jump into our news headlines for this week. So the roundup before we start detailing it all. Obviously, Dragon Ball Z Abridged has landed. Go check that out. We have a fun piece of fan art which actually appeared on the streets. We have an interview that we're going to touch on with Super's art director, which had some interesting information in it, and a Xenoverse data mine, which also dovetails into the Broly Super movie, potentially. That last one is a big pinch of salt and a rumor. So, Mark, let's jump into the mural. Because holy cow, I will put this in a link in the description box for you guys to go check this out, because it is a very cool piece of fan art that we're not sure actually where it took place. We've heard Memphis, and we've also been told Brazil. Doesn't really matter where it happened. It is an awesome piece of fan art that, as you can see, depicts every single stage Goku went through in his life, or transformations to be more accurate. We had Kid Goku all the way through Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, God, Blue, and Ultra Instinct Goku. What do you think, Mark? It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It also shows just how drastic the change was from Dragon Ball to Z.
Oh, yeah.
Cute, like 9-year-old, 10-year-old Goku. Then it's like, oh.
What I really liked, actually, is we went from, like you said, that drastic change. We had Kid Goku, and then we had Teen Goku, and then it was like jacked base form Goku. And you also pointed out the goofy look on the SS3 face of Goku as well.
Yeah, he looks like he's staring down a camera.
I have a feeling either they couldn't get the eyebrows quite right, or it's a total dig at the bad animation in episode 5 of Super. Episode 5 or episode 3? Not sure which episode it was. The one where he fights Beerus is SS3 anyway.
Yeah, the one that caused controversy when it first came out. Because it was not at the same quality as the movie.
Oh, anyway, let's move along, Mark. Let's talk about the interview that recently released. I believe it was actually over the weekend again. The art director for the Broly movie was interviewed, and he had some interesting nuggets of information regarding locale and sets for the movie. We know that Earth's involved. A new planet was actually revealed, which is only described as being swampy and green looking, with lots of canyons and whatnot, so lots of terrain. But most interestingly for me, and what I really took away from this, was Planet Vegeta, which, I mean, we kind of suspected it was going to be in there regardless, but Planet Vegeta's in the movie.
It's been a while.
It has been a very long while. I think the only time it's ever actually shown in the series is the Bardock movie.
I think that Vegeta had a couple flashbacks.
Oh, he did. He had a couple flashbacks
when Nappa had hair.
Yeah, Nappa had hair. Yeah. So I mean, I'm assuming, and we're going to go straight into theory territory here. I'm assuming this is Universe 6's Planet Vegeta.
It could be. Unless it's some very elaborate flashback thing to explain how Broly exists.
Yes.
Like how they used to do for a lot of the movies. They're like, oh yeah, they were just Saiyans that weren't on the planet at the time. And things like that. If they do like a proper, this is Universe 6's planet Vegeta, when everything went to crap.
Now, an interesting, actually, tidbit of information is that I might have jumped the gun a little bit here. Universe 6 is still, their Saiyans are still living on Salada. Salada?
Like they never became a warlike race.
So, I mean, that planet was originally, I think, something happened to it in Universe 7, our timeline, and they relocated to Planet Vegeta, which also got blown up. So, it's going to be cool to see Planet Vegeta, and I'm hoping we kind of get to see what's no matter what universe it takes place in, I think you're probably right, Mark. It probably will happen in a flashback, which I think is cooler because we will actually kind of get to see the hierarchy and how it's all structured regarding the Saiyans on Vegeta. So, like their whole civilization, I think that'd be a really cool realm to dive into.
And also, this new planet. I think it's safe to assume that there will be a structure of how it goes, where Broly's given a flashback or whatever explanation of who he is, what he does, shows up on Earth. They can't really beat him on Earth. Somehow find their way to this new planet, and then everything goes down on that because they can destroy it to their heart's content. Either that, or that's where Frieza's sort of base of operations is. Because I can't really imagine Frieza establishing his base on Earth, because it seems like from the little bits and pieces we've gotten, it seems like he's got an army again, or something to that effect.
I don't know why he bothers with an army, to be honest. Like at this point,
he likes a hype crew.
Yeah, that's why he's got the Ginyu Force. Yeah. I hope there's a Ginyu Force V2. That'd be great. So yeah. Anyway, interesting information regarding where we're going to be traveling, at least in this movie. I'm personally very keen. I'd love to see Vegeta, and hopefully King Vegeta. I'm really keen to see that character get fleshed out more. I think that'd be really cool.
It's just so confusing with the names.
Oh, dude, it is. Oh, God, it is confusing. Again, that was in an abridged episode.
Yeah, Bardock Abridged did it perfectly. Frieza plans to destroy Vegeta. Wait, my son, my planet, or me? Yes.
Yes. Oh, all right. Let's move it along, Mark. Do you want to take us away with the Xenoverse data mine?
Yeah. So recently, it was last week, I believe, the latest DLC pack for Xenoverse 2 was released, which included Super Baby Vegeta and Kefla. And in that, whenever they do a major update to the game, that also includes little tidbits of information for what's to come. So for future updates, it's a much easier migration and everything like that. Anyway, so that's how we knew Kefla and Baby Vegeta were coming originally. And that's how we know that the next characters listed are most likely from the new Broly movie, because everyone comes in pairs. Because it lists Broly and Gogeta. And it doesn't specify what Broly, doesn't specify what Gogeta. But we already have Super Saiyan jacked classic Broly in the game. And we already have Super Saiyan Gogeta and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, which leads people to believe that we may be getting a very, very special surprise in the Broly movie, which won't be a surprise anymore. But I personally would love for Gogeta to finally be canon. Everything he appears in is always debunked.
Yeah, and just to be clear for everybody, Vegito is the result of the Patara rings?
I would say Patara.
Patara rings. And Gogeta is the result of the fusion dance.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between the two. And apparently the fusion dance results in a stronger fusion as well.
Yeah, because in the fusion dance you needed to sync your energies, whereas Patara, it just fuses you, regardless of which state anyone's at. Which is why they always did that like running gag whenever they screw up the fusion dance, that they're like fat or skinny.
Yeah. That's so good. So yeah, interesting. Are you a big fan of the fusion stuff, Mark?
Initially, I thought that the jackets and outfit were weird, like the little puffy orange ring around their arms and the little black jacket that doesn't quite fit, much like Trunks' jacket. Those things are not designed to close. But like over time, I've always loved that design, because you only see it for a brief sort of moment when they go into that form, and it sort of signifies what went into that thing. Like that is only for fusion dances. Whereas like Vegeta was like a amalgamation of Goku's orange gi swapped colors with Vegeta's and things like that, which is cool. And like they both have unique designs, but I've always found the weirdness of the fusion dance equals awesomeness later on.
It is very awkward. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Aesthetically, it's kind of quirky and fun. In terms of like fusion resulting in like an interesting character, like I find them very boring. It's all just about the action for me when fusion happens.
Yeah, well, it's like Vegeto's playful. Gogeta in the first movie, he just showed up, ended the fight. Gogeta in GT was playful like Vegeta. Yeah, and like that, like when you do it like that, there's no separation between those two. And whether or not you want to put any faith in like GT being canon, which there is none. It happened in some other alternate universe, the same universe that Turles exists in.
The movies. I just love it how though GT hasn't necessarily been completely contradicted yet.
Nah.
Like there's still so many ways they could just write it out.
Yeah, unless Goku just suddenly names like Ultra Instinct Super Saiyan 4 or something. Like if they officially name something else Super Saiyan 4, then it'll completely like debunk anything that happened after.
Maybe that's why we got Ultra Instinct and Royal Blue and all this kind of stuff, because they're saving Transformation 4.
Yeah. What if they just say 5 and then everyone's confused?
Yeah. Oh, I'd love that, man. So yeah, interesting roundup of news this week. Cool mural, cool fan art, cool set locations and planets for the movie that are coming up. That's fact. And an interesting, possibility regarding fusion potentially being in the Broly movie. So we will keep you guys updated next week with a fresh batch of news. But Mark, let's move on to our short break and jump into the pun-filled abridged segment. Welcome back, G-Fighters. Today we are discussing, as I mentioned, Abridged. Abridged is finally back. Was it episode 60 or 66, Mark?
60.
60. Now, for those of you who are not aware, Abridged has been off the air for a very, very, very long time. Basically, I think what transpired was the developers were being hit left, right, and center with stop and desist actions and copyright claims from Toei, probably Funimation, because they were using, obviously, Dragon Ball to create their own parody. So that was unfortunate, but they reached a point where I think they decided to basically diversify Team 4-Star and go into other projects. However, they have since decided, and we finally got results of their hard work this weekend, that they were going to finish off the Cell arc. And holy cow, a 22-minute abridged episode that was, in my opinion, on point, Mark. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's like just everything leading up to it. You get a sense that this is like a send-off for the series, and like having that mindset when you go into the episode makes it that much more special and impactful.
Yeah,
and like it might be funny, it might have stupid jokes, silly things, but there's just like this whole sense over the whole episode. You're like, it's gonna end.
I was watching it and I almost felt nostalgic regarding Abridged, because I think it had been so long. It was either I felt nostalgic or disbelief that I was finally watching Abridged again.
Yeah, like it's different when you like rewatch old episodes or watch some of their movies or Let's Plays and things like that. It's like, this is new content you haven't seen yet and things like that. It's continuing the narrative. And like I've always viewed Abridged whenever I watch it. It's how I imagine this series in my mind when I remember it. Because it's like I feel like the dialogue was faster, or the fights were faster, or the quips were sharper, and things like that. But when I actually rewatch an episode, I'm like, this takes forever. But Abridged is sort of like how I imagine it in my head, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It was very polished as well. You can tell they put a lot of work into this. And again, this is the first part of a 3-part abridged episode. So we're probably looking at, an over an hour send-off episode to wrap up the Cell saga of Abridged. So it was really good, though. It was really good. Many gags, Mark. Mark, what were your gag takeaways from this episode?
I like their throwback stuff the most. So pretty much right as the episode started, they had a throwback to the whole dodge, the Piccolo dodge, and Gohan running gag. And there's this running thing, and like again the whole finality of the series and things like that. Like seeing Gohan finally dodge, and you're like, oh, so the series
and
is
Piccolo's shock.
That is perfect, because you're like, oh, he could dodge, but he could dodge better.
Oh, I personally loved all the Yamcha gags. The Yamcha gags were great. He's cracking on about there's a club?
Team 3-star. There is a club.
Towards the start of the episode as well, there was a scene where Cell's talking about Flebside or something like that, and everybody's like, what does that mean?
Filicide.
And Trunks is like, I don't know. And Krillin's like, yep, I've got no idea either. And then it just immediately cuts to Piccolo. It means your son is going to die, Goku. Like, oh man.
Like the running gag of everyone's dumb. And Piccolo's the only one with sense, and they did the whole they like ran with the meme of Piccolo's actually Gohan's dead.
yeah, that's it. And again, I think it was another join the club moment was when Cell was shooting Frieza's beams at Gohan, and Krillin's just out of the blue like, hey, that's what killed Vegeta. And Vegeta's like, I know, I was there.
Didn't Frieza blow you up? Yeah, well, I guess that's so stupid.
I just love how angry Vegeta is all the time in
Abridged. Vegeta has some brilliant, like, quick quips in this episode as well. Like, like this is right at the end where 16's ahead and makes a jab at, says something to Vegeta, and Vegeta says, "Why don't you come up here? I'm just ahead." Well, you better quit while you are one.
Was it you better quit while you are one, or you better quit while you're ahead?
No, he said quit while you are one. He left it like that little bit.
Okay.
And I was like, that's just brilliant, because that's the way Vegeta rolls.
Yeah, it's so good. So many good gags. I loved it as well when Hercules or Mr. Satan throws 16's head into the mix. And you're expecting some kind of like something. You don't know where they're going to go with this kind of speech that he gives Gohan right before he transforms. And it ends up just being truth bombs.
Is it truth bombs? And like some of it wouldn't be out of place in the actual series.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, and I liked them reasoning why Cell is pissed off at Gohan and things like that. How he said like the Saiyans fight because they're strong, the humans fight even though they're weak, and Piccolo fights even though he doesn't belong, because they're all fighting to save the world, and Gohan's just coming up with reasons and things like that. Yeah, and I was like,
no, it's very true. Some of the writing is actually really good, and it is kind of true, which is kind of really cool. I really appreciate it.
And
because I mean,
sorry, go.
I was going to say, I mean, like, they are known for their gags, but they do get real occasionally, which is nice.
Yeah. It's like, even 16's final speech, even though it was a joke, it sort of, like, hit harder when you think about it. And he said, I'm sure Trunks has some stories for you, most of them being, and then he died too. And it's like, that's a joke, but you're like, oh, wait, crap.
Yeah, hang on a sec. Mark, this obviously started, picking up with Goku being decked, the Z-Fighters being decked, and it ended with Gohan finally transforming. So where do we think this is gonna like wind up? Episode 2 at least.
Well, I think episode 2 will be Gohan absolutely thrashing the crap out of the Cell Juniors, each of which has their own unique name in this, including Vegeta Junior. That's funny. So he'll just thrash the Cell Juniors and punch he punched 18 out of Cell.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
He punched 18 out. And so I think that the second episode will end with Goku making his sacrifice, but in the comedic, abridged way, of him not actually realizing. Yeah, he'll make the pop noise. But I think that it might be something like, he goes, I don't know where to put him. I think I'll ask King Kai. And like, teleports over. Instead of actually choosing that location.
Yeah. Oh man, it's going to be so good. So you reckon it's going to wind up with Cell probably blowing up and then returning?
Yeah, I think it'll end right on Cell reappearing.
Nice. And we also speculated before record that we think episode 3 will basically just be a Kamehameha wave blast duel thing.
Yeah, it'll either be the whole episode is a big Kamehameha, or they end it immediately.
It's just in a second.
Yeah, because like they've done that before. It's just like,
yeah,
I'm charging the spirit bomb. It's done.
Yeah. What if they don't explain it? Like, you know how you have the spirit Kamehameha wave? What if instantly Goku's just there and Cell's just like, this is cheating and just gets blown away?
Yeah. It's like he might go, Dad, why are you here? Yeah, Dragon Balls. Or it might go Muffin Button.
Yeah. Anyway, let's wrap it up, Mark. Fantastic return for Abridged. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Can't wait for the next episode. I hope it's just as long. What are your final thoughts on it, Mark?
It's one of those things where it's like, under weight of expectation, you hope it doesn't crumble and things like that. And so far, it's delivered with a massive bang.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure they'll keep it running that same quality the whole way through, because the whole time Dragon Ball Z Abridged has been nothing but quality, because the people that make it care, and you can tell that the whole way through. Like, it's sad to see it go, but like, I'll rewatch the old episodes. I'll imagine what they could have possibly done with Boo and things like that.
I mean, you never know. I mean, they might say it now, but you never know if we will eventually one day get a Boo Abridged. I mean, we just don't know. I mean, things can change.
Yeah, like I would always love it to, like, if they never even touch Super, that's their thing. But if they actually finish Z, it'd be very nice.
It'd be great.
But
I mean,
if like, I'm glad they did Frieza. I'm glad they did the Saiyan Saga and everything like that. And I'm glad that they are able to finish Cell. Because if they weren't able to finish Cell, I think it would leave a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. Even though this has always been free content and everything like that.
Yeah.
And, like, we should be happy for whatever we get.
I think the creators deserve to be able to wrap it up and bring closure to the series to some point as well. And obviously they're just kind of, wary of all their, all the legality issues of all of this that they're facing. But it's nice to see it conclude for them to wrap it all up. And to move on to hopefully other entertaining projects. But Mark, for fun, give it a Team 4-star rating out of 4.
A Team 4-star rating? Does that include a Krillin-owned account?
Okay, if you want.
I mean, like, it's probably their highest stuff so far. I don't know what the other episodes are going to be, but like, I'll probably give it 4 out of 4. Yeah,
I agree with that. 4 out of 4, Team 4 stars from me. And we look forward to the last 2 parts of Abridged. Bring it on. And again, I don't think we've been given any other dates for Abridged, have we, Mark? It's just done when it's done type thing?
No, I think they want, whether or not it will happen, I think they want to release it week by week until it's done. But I don't know if it will.
Okay. All right, well, to wrap it up then, we may or may not be back for Lord Slug next week. If we get another Abridged episode, assume that we will be talking about Abridged again. If there is no Abridged episode, we will most definitely be covering Lord Slug in issue 5 of G-Fighterz. As always, guys, next week you can expect the usual news roundup from us. If you've enjoyed this episode, whether you've listened to it on YouTube or podcast platforms such as iTunes and SoundCloud, please remember to give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, wherever you may be listening or watching. If you are listening to us on podcast services, come over and check out our YouTube channel, where we have a variety of other content that doesn't make it to those platforms. As well, if you are subscribed to us on YouTube, hit the notification bell. There's issues with YouTube at the moment, and we are fearing that you guys aren't actually being notified of our content at this point in time. So if you do enjoy our content, hit the bell. It'll give you a heads up when we drop something new. That's a wrap for issue 4 of this week. Mark and I out of here. We'll see you in issue 6 of G-Fighterz. Have a good one.